everyone, this is Albus Korvus. Topic of today's video deals with identity and how to completely change it in yourself. I will teach you how to completely reinvent yourself, and I'll explain why having a powerful identity is so important. In life, there are two kinds of goals you can set, internal and external. It is my personal view that you need to take a bottom-up approach to achieving your vision in life. That means you begin to work with the self and use that inner transformation to conquer whatever you set your sights on. You begin with the mind, which will extend to the body, which then extends to the spirit. When these things are honed to maximum sharpness, accomplishing any task is child's play. You've already done the hardest work that 99% of people will never complete: self-mastery. I made a brief overview on mindset in the last video because, as I said, that's where it all starts. A set of beliefs is a mindset, but a set of mindsets is a narrative. We have stories that we tell ourselves about what kind of person we are and visualizations about how we would act in certain situations. This sense of identity informs our behaviors, usually on a subconscious level. Since these narratives are operating on such a deep level, it won't do to simply try to erase them. Negative narratives must be pinpointed and replaced with something that is positive. In this case, negative is something that stands in the way of achieving your desires and fulfillment. Positive narratives, on the other hand, are something that will help facilitate this quickly. It is easy to get motivated and stick with something for a limited amount of time. This motivation will eventually die off, however, and you need to make sure that your new behaviors are not just something you do. These habits need to become a part of who you are, something that is reflected from the very core of your being. Instead of thinking to yourself, "I really need to start exercising," instead, reframe it as, "I am an athlete. Getting in shape is just something I do." You will then no longer need to push yourself to perform a behavior. Instead, you are simply engaging in a habit that is part of who you are. Overcoming the limiting stories you tell yourself about who you are is the crux of self-improvement. So where do these self-sabotaging narratives come from, and how can they be replaced with a new identity? You weren't born into this world with these fables you hold about yourself already in place. These stories are formed from interactions with others, propaganda from the outside world, traumas of the past. You then started a pattern of behaviors based on these interactions, depending on how deeply they sank into your mind and started to define you. Perhaps you were able to fend off the majority of this mimetic assault on your mind. However, nobody is completely immunized. Take no shame in the fact that this happened to you. Instead, realize it is what it is and move forward with the full knowledge that you are going to overcome it. The best way to build a new identity, in my experience, is to sit down and actually come up with a version of your idealized self. Use the inspiration of myths and stories to guide you. When I'm doing my workouts or combat training, I envision myself like Achilles or Leonidas to really channel the full energies of what I'm trying to accomplish. When I want to write a creative song or get some serious work done, I imagine Apollonian essence charging me up and giving me the sudden burst I need to accomplish the task at hand. When I become overwhelmed and need to reel my emotions in, I remember the teachings of Marcus Aurelius. You too can take bits and pieces of the greatest stories that inspire you and fuse them together to create this idealized version of yourself. It doesn't matter if the characters are fictional or not. What matters is using their behavior in a specific situation so that you can aspire to more. The more thorough you are with coming up with this idealized version of yourself, the more total a transformation you can exact on your overall identity. Your progress will always start small and then spiral out exponentially. That's how any growth occurs, so don't be expecting miraculous changes all at once. I know everyone expects a quick fix these days, but you must let the seed sprout and the tree grow before you expect to yield any fruits. Using this ideal identity to start informing your new habits will begin to take the shape of a feedback loop. Your own performance and overcoming will inspire you to do more. You will begin to see that the mountain isn't, after all, as daunting as you thought. You will see yourself conquering it one step at a time. Eventually, you won't even be trying anymore as you take on the identity. You'll just wake up and say, "Time to get down to business. This is who I am." Fear will always be trying to hold you back. Your old identity will probably try to fight you every step of the way. It will eventually fade into a shadow of its former self, and after going on for long enough, you will look back and not even recognize the person you were in the past. It might be hard as you go through the trials, but looking back you will say, was it really that easy all along? Why did I wait so long to actually become the person I always wanted to be? Hindsight is always 20/20, but don't wait a day longer to start putting your feet on the path and start walking. Really spend some time on considering who you want to be. If you know what you want, you probably already know what you have to do to get there. Stop thinking of it as some action you need to perform. You aren't a robot executing a program. You need to ignite the fire within you by figuring out who you need to be to get the results that you want. Pick up your sword and begin fighting for your goals. Pick up your sword and begin fighting for your dreams and desires. Learn what it really means to achieve and overcome in the adventure of life. Only then can you realize the immense and lasting satisfaction that living the life of a hero can bring. Until next time, this is Albus Korvus.